Lovely overgrown river here. This river has been so productive for me over the years. I'll show you the set and the catch here now in a minute. Lovely bridge. Have a mink snare set the other side of that. Back in underneath here. A 116 body grip. Set with dog food. And it's just whacked that mink. It's killed him, I'd say, outright instantly. That's what I love about them 116s. They just do so much damage. The mink doesn't even get a chance to tear up the set, which leaves for an easier remake. So we'll get this set back up again and we'll go on and check the rest of the traps. This is a permission I got last week. Lovely big river, and off of here we have a stream coming in. Now back up here about 25 meters I have a cage trap that I've had the bait taken out the last 2 days. I'm not exactly sure what had been taking it, but it wasn't setting the trap off. So I had a 116 set back in here at the corner. Here we have a nice big mink. Killed, perfect. So I love about these 116 body grip traps, they catch in 2 places on the spine, and they close so hard and so fast that I've no doubt that death was pretty quick for this guy. And you get a reset here on the corner. So if he's hugging the bank coming along here to follow up this tributary, or vice versa if he had been coming down the tributary to join the big river, branch just pushed into the bank, attached to the drowning wire, and he set it off on the corner. It was enough to get the job done. I'm going to reset it here again because the water is low enough that his scent to be all over that bank, and it should be enough to maybe draw, if there's another mink in the area, draw him up along here. A lovely little set just to catch him on the corner, no bait required at all. Okay, we have the reset done. That's pretty much the way it was set up before that mink was caught. So they'll come in along the undercuts of the bank, hug the corner, round it, set it off, and you see the result. That's a good sized mink, buck mink, and he didn't get out of that. You can see it pinned him twice across the top of the back and across the lower of the back. Job done. Lovely river this. Great position for a trap just here. I used some old 4-inch blocks that had been left down the other side of the bridge when this bridge had been built. I got it up nice and high because the water level does rise here quite fast. Our mink here, caught in a Mark 6 fin, caught behind the shoulder, nice long chain, come out, down. The trap would have done its job. The mink would have been unconscious fairly quick. If the water level was a little bit higher, the mink would have expired a little bit quicker. But perfect location, excellent catch. Number 116 body grip just tucked in underneath that tree stump. You can see if I back out a small bit, it's wired off then to the edge of it. Lovely river. It's back down under this old railway bridge and leads on down to where we have a mink caught in a Mark 6 fin. It's just a fantastic spot. I love coming here, even when you get nothing. It's nice to just come and walk the river anyway. There's a Mark 6 fin up there in the corner, where I've showed you already that we have a mink caught. Now, I knew this mink was in the area because at some stage he must have been running this, because 3 days in a row he'd been defecating up along here. Every day I came I'd kick it off with the boot, and then there'd be more there again the next day. So I was surprised I didn't catch him a bit sooner. When I landed yesterday here, he'd defecate up on top of that, over here on the sandbank, and there was no sign of him in the trap. And I landed here now this morning and we have a catch up here. I'll take him out and get a reset. Now, I've just taken this mink out of the water, and something I wanted to show. You can see the way the Mark 6 fin catches them. They step on the plate. Now if he'd been a little bit further in, his head probably would have been out this side, so we'd have caught him behind the head and then behind the shoulders. But as it is, he went in halfway, or sorry, he went in halfway across the plate and went off. Now he's caught and he's not going anywhere. But the reason I like the 116s better is this catches them side on, whereas the 116 with the snaps goes across the spine in 2 places. Now he's caught across the spine there. Unfortunately, he would have been alive for a minute or two. He fell out here, he would have drowned anyway. but I just think the 116 is more efficient at killing them outright. If the 116 had been there, I've no doubt that that mink would probably been still lying halfway out of that hole. It would have hit him really hard across the spine in 2 places, and enough to incapacitate him almost instantly. 2 days ago, 25 meters down here, we caught a mink in a 116 body grip on the corner of the bank where it leads out into the river. And we're up the top end of it here. I had a cage trap set here on the bank, but I ended up moving it because something kept taking the bait. You can see we had the rocks piled around the rock and the trap now. Could have been a badger or a fox or maybe even a cat, but I moved it in closer to the water. You can just see it up there. It's just a cage, and back up inside and I have a 116 body grip set. I came here about 5-10 minutes ago. The trap was set off, knocked forward, the bait gone out of the back. I didn't really have the trap secured properly inside in the cage to stop it kind of rocking. Well, I thought I did, but I didn't. We have mink droppings here, which is very, very fresh. So I say the mink has probably come up from the main river, missed the trap at the corner, came along the bank, went over, knocked the trap off inside in the cage, taken the bait and gone on his way. Or it could have happened the other way. He could have came down river, got that trap first, then continued on down to the main river. Either way, he's not in the trap below. So I've got a reset done here, and I'm hoping maybe in a day or two he'll remember he got a free meal, come back, and I have the trap itself inside in the cage a little bit more secure. So I'm hoping it should be sufficient enough to catch him this time. A lovely bridge here, and the water's low at the minute, and it's decent weather forecast for the week, so I'm expecting it to stay low, if not drop another little bit. There's still a sandbar going up along the edge here. We do have mink footprints just up here, back down towards the water. Back up around the bend I have Mark 6 fence set on a high bank set. Further on up the river then I have that 116 body grip on the corner where I took the mink last week, and a 116 in a cage trap set back up 25 metres from that as well. A nice pile of rock here. It was left over when that wall got knocked off the bridge and it was redone. I've set the cage on the back side of the flow, so even if the water does rise and it does come to a fast flow, the cage will be secure enough that I've used plenty of boulders to keep it held in position. There was some mink scat here on the rock before I started. I've just kicked it off. There's some old mink scat just here. So hoping this will be productive for me. I haven't caught anything on the high bank set on the far side. So I came back down to the bridge here since the water is low. It's easily accessible from the check from above, and I'm hoping that this will be a good spot to catch a few mink anyway, especially for over the next week or two if the weather comes as good as it's promised. Okay, we're up on the bridge now looking down on the set that I've just made, and what I've done is I got some moss off the wall and just covered over any bits of the black metal that were exposed, and an untrained eye pretty much just looks like a pile of rubble. I can see where the outer lip of the door is, and just make it out, tip my finger a little silver bit. If I come up on that, then I can see that if that's closed, and then I'm pretty much sure it'll have something in it. Out checking traps this morning. I put a cage trap to the other side of that bridge there 2 days ago, and I'd been telling you what else I had back up this way. I was saying I had a high bank set with a Mark 6, which is this trap here, with a nice little female mink, I'd say. Yep, actually decent sized female. Further on up, past these bushes at the tip of my finger, is where we have the 116 body grip. We caught the mink on the corner, and then up to the left of that, as we're looking up the river, is where the 116 body grip is in the cage. I'll leave her there now for the minute. I'm going to go down and check the other side of that bridge. But the high bank set there, the reason I set so high up there was the water will rise quite fast here in the winter. So I needed a set that was going to be operational for the majority of that. And whilst the water will rise to probably cover that, or cover a portion of that at some stage, at least if it fluctuates anyways from that high mark, I'd still have a set running. Whereas the cage trap will be totally out of action, and the two traps back up here will be totally out of action. But we have one catch here, so not a bad start. We do have plenty of mink tracks along the sandbar here. We have cage traps set just the other side of these rocks, and it's empty. But we do have that little or good sized mink just around the corner on the high set Mark 6 fen. Why they've passed this one up, I don't know. It's fresh dog food that's in it, but it's just the nature of the game. I've no doubt that we will get one in this, so we'll just give it another few days before I take it out. Would you believe it? This is where we got the small female yesterday, the 18th of September. It's now the 19th of September. I have another mink caught here in that trap. Brilliant. It's the bridge that we were at here yesterday. The cage trap on the other side of it. I'm just coming here now, and another mink. I was thinking there was another mink here because yesterday there was fresh droppings over here while the mink was still in that trap. And I was kind of debating, was it the same one that was caught in the trap, and it wasn't. That is a fantastic catch straight away the next day. I don't think that's ever happened to me before in any of my locations where I've got a mink back to back in 2 consecutive days. A little bit stiff, I'd say, he went into it maybe yesterday evening. But that is brilliant. What have we got? A buck mink. Could be members of the same family from this year. That is excellent. Big rat caught here in a Mark 6 fen. Last week we had the nice mink caught here. Not what we're after, but look, we'll take them anyway. I'm going to take them out of that trap and I'm just going to throw them in the back of it and use them as bait. Just had to show you the size of this rat before I put him in back as bait. That's a size 11 boot. That's a big rat. I'm just going to put him in the back there. You get an idea of what's on these rivers. Double entry mink trap along the wall here. So camouflaged in. Great location to catch a mink. And along the edge of the wall here, coming around to the corner, there's some old mink droppings in along the wall in here. This portion isn't flooded yet. Water levels are low, goes down round in here. It's very deep in there, probably about waist deep. Came down here yesterday to have a look at this, and there was 2 boxes of old Bulmers cans, empty, thrown in obviously off someone driving by. Old beer bottles, all that down in here. Cleaned all this out yesterday. It's disgraceful. Hopefully we get something here. Our Mark 6 fen set there. Just nicely dug back into the bank. It's proved very productive for me over the years. But lately I've been having a mink that's been passing by it a few times. The mink snare set here. The mink kept defecating there on top of that rock for some reason. I'd come along, I'd clean it off and come back then. You know, you check it over the course of a couple of days and then be more scat left on top of it. So I tried it as a double entry mink trap. I baited with a bit of fresh salmon and we have a nice little mink in it there. I'm going to dispatch him now with the HW110, and all that area there will stink now of mink. A musky smell, so it'll be a nice kind of lure to throw something else in and get a reset there now in a minute. Okay, so mink dispatched with the HW110, cage reset, and some fresh salmon to go back into it now, and it'll be good to go again. Okay, so mink dispatched with the HW110, cage reset, and some fresh salmon to go back into it now, and it'll be good to go again. Right, we're back where we caught the mink yesterday in the cage trap. So we're just there already dispatched the one with the HW110, the mink snare, and the Mark 6 fen in that hole. And we've had another mink. So we've got 2 mink, this location, back to back, 2 separate traps. So just want to show the diversity of using different techniques at the one location. Very pleased with that now. He doesn't look like he's in it long, to be honest. You know, he is dead, but you can see the purpose of an extra long wire on it. Man, he stinks. The extra long wire staked into the bank, and the water is unseasonably low for this time of the year. But the water does come up, it usually covers all in around here. So if he was still alive when he got caught in the trap, he rolled down the bank and drowned. But delighted with that. Great spot there for a mink snare. Need to run this ledge here down onto the rocks there in the the distance there, drop down into the water. We've got this ledge that runs the whole way back underneath the bridge. It narrows down here then. There's a nice little pinch point. I have a piece of block just covered with moss. If he catches and that, he's going to go straight off the ledge into the water. That'll take him down and drown him. Great spot there. Mink snare set here on a nice kind of a natural pathway here on the top of a bank. A bit hard to see with the leaves. Goes back in under here, back in under that tree trunk and carries on up the bank. Mink will use this, although it's on the top of the bank, they will run it. They'll hug the water's edge as well, but when the water gets high and fast like it was here yesterday, the water's down about 18 inches. This is an excellent way for them to cover the bank. It's a perfect little spot there for them. It's about a 3-inch loop, 2 inches off the ground. Nice kind of funnel and point there that he'll run that track. In he goes, gets caught, and a bit wired off here around the tree. The important thing with these is the wire, the support wire, it needs to be rigid for the snare to fire quick. So if you have a bit of play in that, and then once the mink feels a bit of resistance at all, he could back out of it. So if you have a rigid support wire, the snare should fire off very quick. The opposite side we have the 116 just over here. It's a bit hard to see with this branch in the way. 116 over there and another snare on the corner. The 116 on the corner is where we got that buck mink a couple of weeks ago. I haven't got anything there since, and I don't have anything on this side. The only other trap I have on this side is back down at the bridge. So probably have about 200-250 meters, maybe a little bit more of bank that we have nothing on this side. Now the only downside of that is once the water rises, it's going to be hard to get across here. It could be dangerous, so it's kind of weigh off the pros and cons of it. But I'm happy enough to leave this mink snare here. I can see it from the far side there, because I can see in the back of this branch. So if anything gets caught in it, I've no doubt it'll dig up the bank anyway. It'll be a good signal for me that something's over here. I can access it then easy enough, back down to the bridge, across the field, just pop down here. So mink snare, not something to be shied away from. It's another tool in the arsenal to catch some mink. Good sized buck mink here in the Mark 6 fen trap. It's set in here in this little kind of makeshift tunnel. He got caught in the trap, backed out, got dragged down into the water, died pretty quick. Lovely little river this. Catch maybe 4 or 5 mink a year on this. It's full of little fish, a couple of small trout in it, and it does produce a good number of mink for me. And even that, used to watch my old videos under the name of Hollow Point before I took them down, would recognise this river, and they see how successful it's been for me over the years. And get a reset here. Nice little bridge here, got some 4-inch blocks, made like a tunnel to dog food in the back. Big rat caught there in the Mark 6 fen. These little rivers, streams, they're up a bit now at the minute with the water that we've had, the rain. Don't overlook them, they will produce. If we have rats running this, we're definitely going to have mink. I have caught mink here before, just put a block over the top, made like a tunnel, but it was out of action when the water just rise so high, so I decided to make a permanent kind of setup on top of the bank that can be operational year round, regardless of weather. Okay, rat taken out, trap set back up in there, narrow down a couple of rocks. Handy to carry a pair of gloves around, especially when you're dealing with non-target catches, the likes of rats and that. We all know the diseases that them carry around. Quick and simple. Got a mink in a double entry mink trap here. We got a mink here on the 28th of September. Then we came back on the 29th and we had one in the Mark 6 fen, which is here. It's now the 17th of October. And we have a nice mink here in this little double entry trap. Just on this little rise of ground here in the bend of the river. Not a big mink, but they all count. At the HW110 I'm going to get that mink dispatched, and that'll be an ideal spot now to just leave the trap there. The smell of that mink now should draw anything else in the area, hopefully up into that. Not in the mink snare. Mark 6 fen, empty. Pair of gloves, had some fresh salmon. That's actually come down to rebait that hole with, and seeing that we have to catch here. So we get that redone and get that mink dispatched out the air rifle. Okay, we're back in this little river. It's been 30 days, just over 30 days since I've had a catch here. 7th of October was the last time I had a catch at this location. The water is up a bit since then. I had the trap set off a few times and it's been empty. I got a phone call this morning from my father saying that there was a mink in the trap here this morning. So it's the 8th of October, the 8th of November today. 7th of October was the last time we had a catch. And caught it on the back hips. An instance like this, the trap will do its job, but it will take a time for the mink to perish like that. But we have the addition of the drowning chain, which is pegged to the bank. The mink is caught, he's able to take the trap out into the water. The water's just below knee deep here now at the minute. That'd take him down and he'd drown quite quickly. An effective addition to any sort of a set you have, where you have the ability to attach a drowning wire, that the water's going to be sufficient if the trap doesn't do its job outright. So we get a reset here and hopefully we'll catch again here. We've got a lovely little salmon river here. The water's well up. We're in the mid-November, 14th of November. All I had done was the mink snare set down about there to tip my finger on down. Nice little run. I scuffed in here with my boot. Set a 116 body grip underneath the tree stump. A lovely mink here caught. Perfect. Nice bit of white on her. And that's the end of that. Perfect catch. It's unusual to get that much white on them. Now that's a great catch to get. I'm going to get a reset here. Get back in under that. All done was made a little bit of a hole so they can travel the river in under the tree stump, come up on the bank and run the ledge. That's the reset. And let's travel along the edge of the bank here. And around here anywhere at all. Nice handy spot up underneath that. Pop out the top. Run the bank on down. You got a nice mink. Nice bit of white on her. Have it tied off here to a bit of barbed wire so it's not going to go anywhere. Okay folks, back out on this little river here now, and it's well swollen with the recent rains that we had. It's the 20th of November. Mark 6 fen in here in the corner. Previous videos that have got a mink here. Just out where the tip of my finger is, there's a bend in the river flooded over at the minute. We had a double entry mink trap where we caught a mink in it, and then the next day we came back and we had a mink in here. Well, obviously the water's probably 2.5–3 feet over that little bank. It's well flooded now, so I have that trap left up here, just camouflaged over a small bit. Mark 6 fen was in here. I've just come down this morning. I see the drowning wire is pulled out of the hole, and we have a rather nice sized mink in it there. So it's a good catch to get. With the Mark 6 fen there and the double entry cage trap, pretty much covering all angles coming in here. Now back earlier in the year this water was probably only about shin deep up on the Wellington, but it's well up now. This river comes off a bog here, and this area back up on top goes out onto open bog, and it's a red grouse regeneration project that's up there. So it's no harm to get all these mink taken over. And in this spot in particular, when I had other videos up on YouTube and I was posting them under the name of Hollow Point, I took them all down for various reasons. But anyone that would have been watching me from back then or was wondering where I've gone to, I'm still at it. It's the same location. It's been very, very productive for me over the years. And it's in a nice quiet location too. You wouldn't think that there's much in this river in the summertime, but there is trout in and about this size year round, and flows from a thurlock back up that way about 1 kilometre or less. So that's well up with water, and that's where all this excess water is coming from now. And obviously this river here is coming in off the bog. It's usually just a trickle, but it's well up now. But there is also freshwater crayfish in this. So that's what they're feeding on. There's rats, mice up along the bank here as well, and small trout in it. Very, very few in it, but they are in it. They don't grow to any real large size, maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches, not much bigger than that. So there is food in these little rivers for them, and they shouldn't really be overlooked. They look big and plentiful in the winter time, but in the summer and spring there's very little water in them. But to have a trap down on them, you're going to cover all avenues and try and take as many mink as you can. 28th of November. Last time I had a catch here was the 20th, 8 days ago. We have the double entry cage trap set there. Stream coming in, the water has dropped it just a small bit. We used to have the double entry trap out there. Mark 6 fence set in the hole. And we have a small enough mink, not caught ideally. It's been live for a while because the trap is all wrapped up in grass. It's caught round the back hips, and that's not an ideal catch, but the trap held. And I've no doubt that the aid of the drowning wire which allowed the trap to come back out and into the water would have drowned the mink. So drowning wire served this purpose there. But 8 days since we had a catch here, that's good. Okay, 6th of December 2020. Nice little setup here, some old 4-inch blocks I made a tunnel with. Blocked off the end of the back of it. I used to put dog food or fish or whatever it was into the back and set a Mark 6 fen at the front. 10th of October was the last time I had a catch here, and it was a rat. I have been catching rats here steady, and came down now today. I have a nice mink here. And what's happened is the mink looks like a big buck mink. Obviously he's got caught in the trap in there. He wasn't killed outright, so he's backed out with the drowning wire into the water. The trap has taken him down and he's drowned. It's a nice length of wire there to enable the trap to travel back out. That's a good decent mink. It's a size 11 boot. I'll give you an idea of the size of that mink. I'm going to get a reset here again with some dog food as bait. And we'll see what else is hunting on this little river. The water's well up this time of the year. All you usually get in this is some frogs, maybe some small sticklebacks. That'd be about it. But where this river or ditch leads to, if you follow that on down and around, there's a Turlock field that floods across here. There's water in it year round. In the winter time it rises drastically and brings duck in onto it. So there's plenty of feeding for them over there. So we'll get a reset back here and we'll see how long it takes to catch another mink. Okay, we've reset made. It's 2 rocks either side just to narrow it down that the anything going in has to cross the plate. 1 or 2 of them kind of soft old nettle stems just to make the mink keep his head low, that he doesn't go in with the head high, and the 2 feet on the pan and the springs. You run the risk of him catching just around the shoulders and the head out at the trap. Obviously the better catch on the body or on the head that we have at the trap, the less likely he's going to get away. So we have that done. Bit of dog food in the back there. Again, as you can see, size 11 boot. That's a good size mink to catch. Fox here caught in a snare just at the back of my own property. In addition to keeping on top of the mink and the corvids, foxes do a lot of control of them. We have 150 free range hens here, 30 free ranging ducks. If a fox gets in there, he'd do a lot of damage very, very quickly. So we do snare quite a lot year round to try and keep on top of their numbers. Okay, we took a fox out of here last week, exact same spot. Reset a snare that day. Have another fox here now. It just shows you the abundance of them now that's in at the winter time, especially coming up around pairing up mating season. So I'm going to get this fella dispatched and I get another one set here. Okay, we're on the 22nd of December. Mink snaring underneath this. Lovely little path. I'm surprised I haven't caught anything on it. Over the far side there is where we had the 116 body grip. And the focus is just over there. And I was surprised I didn't have anything caught on this side of the bank. So I had a spare mink trap, cage trap. And I set it up just over here. Stops that little river coming in. And we have a mink in the trap dead. It was very, very cold last night. So I'm presuming that the frost may have taken its toll on him. But he's in there, he's dead. And it's a catch, they all count. So yeah, I'm no doubt that he'd worked his way up to where that mink snare was, but this is a double entry mink trap. And he's caught in inside now, which is a very good result for us. So 22nd of December, and we're still catching mink. We have a cold night last night. It was -2. So hopefully that's going to start pushing them back towards the rivers a little bit more. The food will be getting a bit more scarce up in the fields, and the mink mix is living out of the rivers predominantly. So I'm hoping that's the start of the cold weather that's going to start pushing them back towards the traps a little bit more.